Hey everybody, how you doing? My name is Kimble Rogers. I wanted to talk to you about something today. It's probably going to sound a little bit strange. Let me give you that caveat before we begin. It has to do with something I was thinking about today, about why so many people waste so much time and why a lot of people don't achieve their big goals in life, at least not big goals. A lot of people can do the little things, but they can't seem to accomplish the very big extreme objectives. The first thing I want you to kind of realize is that in my theory, in order to achieve really extreme goals, you have to be an extreme kind of person. You have to be almost a little bit weird, for lack of a better word. You can't do what everybody else does, otherwise you're going to get what everybody else gets. And so if you want something different, you have to put in extra effort. Now, one of the things I realized a long time ago is that every time I step out and go out into the world and do regular people stuff, I don't actually live like a regular life. What I mean by that is I'm very selective about my friends. I don't really talk on the phone that much. I don't really socialize excessively. On occasion, I'll socialize with family and friends and a few other people, sometimes not even fans. As much as I love socializing with fans, but I like to keep everything in a box. Because one of the things I found out is that if you don't put your time in a box, it kind of like explodes and goes away from you. So for example, I went on a trip recently and I was, whenever I travel, I'm in a different kind of a mode. Most of the time I'm in work mode, but every now and again I'll have a little bit of social life in between. But most of the time I clear out a lot of space so that I can accomplish the objectives that I've set myself out to do. It does require a little bit more focus than is usual. When I do go out, I change that up. I switch it up. Yes, I don't work as much and I get down. So one day when I was out of town, I had this long to-do list and I was calculating what I needed to do. I need to go and see my aunt, I need to go and see this person, I had to go and see that person. 2 or 3 things to do that day. That's all. That was it. And then I started doing the math based on what time I woke up, on what time I started having breakfast, what time I finished my workout. By the time I had my shower and stuff, it was already like 11:30. And I thought to myself, I need to accomplish all these things before nighttime. But when I looked at how I was going to be maneuvering that day, it seemed like I wasn't going to make it. I wasn't going to be able to accomplish a lot of the things that I had already set out to do. Whether it was work, whether it was play, and it made me think, wow, if people are like this every day, no wonder they can't get anything done. No wonder they can't achieve their goals. No wonder they can't really do the big things in life. Because in order to really do big things in life, you have to be a master at controlling your time. What I've noticed with a lot of people, there are people that are in different positions. Let's break them into 3 broad categories. There are people that have a business that's established, that's off the ground, that's able to sustain them. You have those that have the businesses that are small, that's sputtering a little bit. And then you have the people that want to get into the category, the entrepreneurs, okay? They want to create something of their own, and they want to just go from 0 to 100. They know it's going to take time, but they are prepared to put in the work, and getting off the corporate plantation is a priority for them. You understand what I'm saying? One thing that is interesting is that they all have one consistent problem, and that is kind of a lack of understanding from people who don't know what it's like to be free. And I'm talking about people who just don't get it. People who have spent so much time living in a controlled capitalist kind of situation that they don't understand why somebody would want to try and run their own business, why somebody would have the audacity to think that they can actually do it, why somebody would actually take their own business seriously as they would take working for somebody else as seriously. This is just the truth, okay? We don't, as community, don't take ourselves very seriously when it comes to the goals that we set for ourselves. We say we ain't got no money, we ain't got no time, we ain't got no resources to do anything without working for somebody else. Hey, these people will never allow it, my boss would never do, and all of that. So many excuses. There are so many colored conspiracy theorists out there that colored people can't get anything. outside of what everybody else gets. We just have no ability, no chance to prosper. I reject that notion entirely because it is absolute nonsense. It's a form of mental illness, and it's something that we've all been hit with it at some point in our lives. But it's something that we have to focus on letting go. Now, one symptom of that lack of respect that we have for ourselves and for each other is the way we approach each other when it comes to our time. And let me explain this. If you tell me that you work for, let's pick any kind of a business. Let's say you work for Amazon.com, and you got to go to work 10 hours a day. And you tell me, hey, when I'm at work, I can't take any personal calls. I won't be back until 6 o'clock tonight. I'll see you then because I have to go to work. Well, a few things will happen. Number one, I'm really going to congratulate you when you get that job, or when you get a promotion, or when you get a raise, because that promotion and that raise and all these things, those are official validations that make us feel like we've actually accomplished something meaningful, relevant, something tangible. But the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to respect that space, and I'm going to respect that time. I'm not going to bother you during work hours unless it's an emergency. I'm not going to come to your job while you're on the factory line and say, hey, you know what, we need you to come and bake the cookies, or, because the kids ate all the cookies last night. Can you come to the house and come and do the laundry real quick? We're not going to do that, right? Because you are in somebody else's territory, and that needs to be respected. Anybody would think that you were crazy for going against somebody getting fired off their job. Now flip that a little bit. Imagine if you're an entrepreneur and you say, hey, I could have got that job at Amazon, but I turned it down because they offered me a promotion, but I passed it up because I want to build something of my own. I want to start my own business. Well, first and foremost, your relatives are going to think you're crazy. Why are you passing up that good job? What other stuff are you doing? Hey, what nonsense are you doing? You can't be sitting at home. Do you even have a job? They're going to say things like that. They're going to look at you as somebody who is either stupid for passing up good money, or somebody who has failed because you can't get somebody to validate you. It's almost like sometimes a woman has failed to get a man to want her. But the same thing is true with people of community. You think that you failed if somebody else, a white person or a black person for that matter, hasn't hired you, because you're going to see yourself as a failure. They're going to see you as foolhardy. It's just something that they wouldn't understand. So what happens when people don't understand something? They don't respect it. They tend to not support it. So they're not going to take the time to learn what you do. They're not going to take the time to how to invest in you. They're not going to take any time to support you or buy any of your products. And this is why you have to control the situation. And also, unfortunately, in many cases, they're not going to be able to truly respect your time. They're not going to respect your time and your space. Let me give you an example. If you are working at home, remember, if you're working at the factory, nobody's going to be bothering you. No one's coming to your job. No one's going to be calling you because they know that you're going to be working for somebody else. But if you're working for yourself and you're back at the den, back at the crib, and you're working on your business plan at the crib, and the children and the spouse and the cousin Pookie and them know that you are at the crib, don't think for 1 second that they won't hesitate to come down there and bother you with some nonsense. Hey, bruh, can you give me a ride to the shop? Hey, can you can you pick up the kids today because you're not working? I got work. Are you able to go and pick up the youngsters and blah 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 every day? Or hey, no, the Zessa guys are coming through, they need to fix and blah blah blah. If you're going to be at Cameron, can you make sure that you let them in? They're going to give you all these extra tasks and all these expectations that's going to come from the fact that in their mind you are unemployed. In their mind you are always going to be available, period. Now, here's what has to occur. In order for people to respect your time, it must begin in one important place, and that place is that you must respect your time. Because let me tell you what I see all the time. I see people who if they have an appointment, and whether it was supposed to be someone, an appointment for a job, they'll be there early. They'll be there early. But when you set an appointment with yourself, do you do the same thing? Do you meet it with the same sense of urgency? No, a lot of us don't. No, it's kind of optional. And somebody calls, hey, can you do this at 9 o'clock? You say, okay, sure. I don't really have anything to do at that time. But you had something to do. You had an appointment with yourself. And you need to respect your time as much as you would respect your time if you were the president. Seriously, in order for you to get other people to see the importance that you are to yourself, you must be the first person to recognize that importance. So that means that if you are going to be setting an appointment or a time that you're going to be starting to work on your project, you need to treat that time as if it is concrete. It's something that you cannot miss so that you can implement your goal. And the second thing you must do, you must become territorial by protecting your space. When you go into the crib and they know that you're at the crib, you tell them, don't you bother me while I'm working. Don't come here with that nonsense. I don't have time for the next 8 hours. I'm going to be in here working. This is what you need to do with people. And if that does not work, and then you get up and you leave and you go and disappear. You take your phone off, switch off the Facebook, switch off the email, switch off Twitter, switch off Instagram. Do not disclose your location, and you go and work on your dream, and you spend it building it by yourself. That's what you have to do. Because if you don't respect your time, other people will steal your time. They will just pee all over your dream. And they will have no respect for what you do. And what is unfortunate, that people don't respect things until you start making real money. Maybe later on, when you start making real money, they're going to be respecting you just a little bit. They're going to try and make sense out of what it is that you're doing just a little bit. But even then, they're still going to think that the money is going to be growing on trees and it comes easily. So even now, myself as an entrepreneur, I'm constantly fighting with relatives, and I'm trying to let them know that, hey, listen, I'm not at home all day. I switch off my phone. I'm not available to you or to anybody. You have to do that with children. You have to do that with relatives. You have to do that with family. You have to do that with your relationships. You have to do it with everybody. You need to respect your own time. People will only respect your time the way you respect your time. And that's all I wanted to share with you guys today. Respect your time. Go get yours, guys. Don't you listen to that negative thinking and negative attitude and negative whatever from everybody else. Be positive, do yours, and get it done. And show us, because we want to clap hands and applaud you. Have a great weekend, guys. Thanks for taking the time out. Nice one.